Okay.
Can
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
What
Give
you
me
say?
give me 1 second. I need to yell and tell my husband to come get my dog, or he's gonna like jump
Okay.
around like
No,
a minute.
totally fine. I'm going to chat with these girls for just a hot second. So, okay, guys, I'm super, super, super excited. So, I have been kind of working with Alyssa a lot lately, especially with, her coaches and her downlines and stuff. And Carrie kept popping up and popping up and popping up. And I was like, who is this girl? Like, where did she come from? All these things. And, I'm pretty sure like one day she was like 1-star qual, the next day it was like 2-star qual, like a week later it was like 3-star qual, and then 4-star qual, and then I messaged all of you guys today because she should be 5-star qual this week. And so it was just crazy to see her business just absolutely explode. And I've been like slowly picking her brain, just trying to like get different things, new things, in the business and stuff. And so I'm just literally gonna like let her go and just share the things, whatever she's got for you guys. Do me a huge favor, like make sure you guys have like a notebook and writing this stuff down, because I'm not even kidding you. I was at the beach today and I was like messaging her and like writing stuff in my notes on my phone. Like that's how freaking like fire this stuff is. When she talks to you, it's so freaking basic that you're like, no, like it doesn't work. Like I even messaged her today. I was like, no, but actually, like, what do you do? She's like, no, that's literally what I do. So she's just literally going to blow your mind, and I'm so excited. I do have it recorded, so just make sure like you keep yourself on mute, and then if you have questions, like put them in the chat, and then at the end, if we have some time, she can answer those, or I can like send them to her and she can answer them for you guys. But she's like straight fire, so I'm just going to let you go. Are you good? Is your okay? I'm gonna
Yeah.
let her take it away. I'm gonna mute myself, and I'm gonna go grab my notebook. So the floor is yours, girl.
Okie doke. Okay, so thank you so much for having me here. First of all, there's like so many people on this call, and I'm literally regular AF, so this is crazy. So just to tell you guys a little bit about myself. So if you don't know me, if you see the leaderboards, my real name's actually Carol, but I go by Carrie, so Carol Schneider. I'm from Pittsburgh. I have 2 kiddos. I'm married. My kids are 4 and 2. And this is, my full-time job. I've been coaching for a year. So I started last September. And when I started, coaching, I had been doing Beachbody programs for 4 years. It literally started with the 21-day fix video. I didn't even at the time know that like coaches were a thing, or like Shakeology was a thing. My sister was like 14 years old and had lost like 30 pounds off of the 21-day fix video. So when I had my son, I asked my husband if he would order me the video, and he did. And then I had really great results, and people were seeing me and they were like, Carrie, like, what are you doing? Like, like you look great, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing this video off of my TV. Like, and people were buying it after I told them that. So fast forward a little while longer, I kept like ordering the DVDs, because this is like before the on-demand came out. And I realized that like coaches were like a thing, and I had like bounced just buying different things from different people. I wasn't really like super committed. Completed a bunch of programs. I almost had a 6-pack, was in the best shape of my life, got pregnant with my daughter. And when I got pregnant with my daughter, I did that's when the on-demand came out essentially. And I did the maternity program, and I did like, a couple different things while I was pregnant with her, and I had her. When I had her, I was like really super postpartum depressed. Okay. And I kept doing, obviously, just like same programs all the time, 21-day fix, whatever. Shared my journey just because like I wasn't even getting paid to, I just loved it. But like I always like would see the Beachbody coaches, and I would always like think in my head, like I could never do that. Like I could never ever do that. Like, first of all, like I never wanted to be that girl on social media. Second of all, my dad's a criminal. And I grew up really, really poor and had like a horrible life basically. So I'm like, nobody's ever going to want me to be their coach, like ever. And then fast forward, my daughter was like 7 months old, 8 months old. My husband kept telling me like, you should coach, you should coach, you should coach. And I was like, I'm not coaching. I'm not coaching. I'm not coaching. Well, I was a waitress and I worked part-time on the weekend, and childcare was like a really big issue. And he just kept telling me, he's like, you should try it. We had such bad childcare issues. And one day I just figured, you know what, like, what do I actually have to lose? Like, I'm so afraid of people's opinions of me. Like, you know, I'm so like, I was like thinking about like my high school friends, like what they would think, my cousin, like those people don't even speak to me. So why I cared beyond me. Um, and one day I came home from work and I was like, that's it. I'm done. I threw my apron in the garbage can. I launched my business the next day and I still wasn't sure. Okay. So 1 year ago, I was literally sitting on a call just like you guys and wondering, like, how am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? Am I going to make it work? I don't know. Right. Like, you're one piece of you thinks you can do it because like you see people with success and you're like, oh, that's awesome. You know, I think I can do it. But the other half of you might be like, I'm not really sure, you know? And so launched my business, wasn't too sure, didn't know what to think. I didn't have my first sale for like 11 days or something. I was super discouraged because I am a high performance person. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, I'm like, I want the results. Like, I want them. And when they weren't happening, I was like miserable. You know, my first paycheck was $0. My second paycheck was like $50. I literally sat in my daughter's room. It makes me so emotional. And I literally just invited every person in my warm market when I started my business. Like, I didn't care. Like, every person in my warm market got an invite. And I would just basically say to them, and if you are starting your business, this is something you might want to take away from this. Everybody in my warm market got an invite. And it was super simple. I got it off of a Google script that I found. I think it was from like Raina Odell. And I just said, hey, I don't know if you've seen my post or not. I hope you're doing well. But I am actually starting to run fitness accountability groups online. I'd really like to have you in. So if you know somebody who's trying to get into really good shape by the end of the year, or if you might want to, please let me know, like send them my way. So I wasn't like super like sales about it, but I was like, hey, if you know somebody or somebody you know, like send them to me. Like, you're my warm market. I know you. You already know, like, and trust me. This is not a cold invite, right? So I started to get traction from that invite. And I was sending out probably like 50 a day. My second paycheck was $300. And that was a game changer for me. Like, we were in the grocery store and like my husband, so I grew up really poor, but my husband makes pretty good money, you know, and he always takes care of me, but like living on one income sucks. Like, who wants to do that? So I'll never forget, we were like in Walmart and like we like stocked up on groceries and he was like, I am so happy. He's like, there's like a weight lifted. And he like got choked up and I get choked up talking about it because I honestly had no idea all this was going to happen still. But like, all I knew was that I was going to do it. Like, I was going to do it and I was going to hustle my ass and do whatever it took because I was actually contributing to my family. That day I went home and that was like the moment for me that I like was like $300 in 1 week. Like, that was my grocery money. You know what I mean? Like, that was like my diapers, my gas. We could eat out. Like, okay, I'm doing it. So I came home and I started just going and I just didn't stop. Like, every free minute, like, I'm not even going to lie to you guys. Like, if you're on here, my vision for my family is absolutely fucking ruthless. Like, I'm ruthless about it. Like, I'm going to make it. I'm going to take my kids on the vacations they want. I'm going to retire my husband, like, end of story. But if you have a vision like that, and I don't know if you, why you guys are in this business, but if you don't know, you definitely need to find that out. But that ruthless vision that you have for your life, you will not get it on a minimum wage work ethic. You know, like, if you want to have that $1 million dream, you have to have a work ethic that meets it. If you actually want to do it and believe that you can, right? So started getting up really early, just like hustling my butt and really working, you know, like really working, like taking it to the house. Like, every person who was watching my stories was getting an invite. If I knew my stories were expiring at 8:00 in the morning, my ass was up and doing it. Because at the end of the day, once again, you know, you're not going to be able to build the dream you want to dream by sending 10 invites a day. That's just not going to happen, you know? So I realized that and I started just going. Next thing I know, my business just started picking up like insane momentum. When I started, I didn't even really use my Instagram. And I started growing that Instagram. And when my Instagram caught up with my Facebook, I've pretty much been anywhere between SC 50 to 60 every month for about, it's November. I guess it's probably about April. Like, my least success club point since January has been like 40. That's like least. Like I close at least 20 to 30 sales a month. Okay. So the reason why is because that compound effect started taking into place. Like it took a good 6 months of me inviting over and over and over again, like literally not even kidding you. Okay. So now here I am. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm actually doing it now. I can build a team, right? I never even wanted to build a team. I just wanted to make my grocery money, you know? And I started like really diving into building a team and recruiting and getting working coaches, which I recommend doing it now. Like wherever you're in your business, you have to recruit and get good people behind you on your team to really help. I'm just reading the chat here. Okay, so how do I keep the passion alive? So personal development is like absolutely key. And I really dive into that. Like in the morning when I get up, like I have a morning routine. For years, I thought it was so corny. Like I watched Melanie Mitro for years and I'm like, there's no way that lady's in a good mood every morning at 5 o'clock. Like you gotta be kidding me. For me, I get up and the first thing I do, well, sometimes I'm guilty of checking my inbox, but I get that personal development on and I listen to it and I hear it. And then I literally visualize, like I just said to my kids today, I said, guys, like mommy went 5-star and my son is 4. And he knew right away, that means we're going to Disneyland. He knew right away because every single day when my feet hit that floor, since I realized that I could actually lead people, I was like, I'm taking my kids to Disney. I'm taking my kids to Disney every single day. So now that's my story. That's a little bit about it. You know, I've been really, really starting to build a team and create relationships with my coaches and love on my coaches and really just pour everything I have and everything I poured into my own business. I'm now pouring into them and it's paying off tenfold. You know, there's been times I've been discouraged. There's been times I've been like, what the heck? Like I hit like SC 60 last month and I had 4 people return and I was like devastated. Like my heart was like broken. Like I don't like that, you know, it discouraged me. But at the end of the day, like enjoying the process of now is so important and not getting so focused on the goal, but still keeping your sight on that goal and knowing that the work that you're putting in is absolutely going to pay off if you do it. Okay. And I do see questions popping up and I will definitely answer all of them. I'm going to go over, so I don't get sidetracked. I'm going to go over my systems, how I make money, how I basically do it, you know? So the first thing is my invite process is a little bit different. Okay. My invite process isn't what yours maybe is, right? So again, I'm just going to be really honest with you. And when I bring my new coaches on, I tell them this from the gate, like, how much money do you want to make? Okay. Like if you want to make like, let's say like $100 a month, okay, invite 10 people a day. If you want to build a life by design, if you want, like we're selling our house and building our dream one, and that's just like amazing. But if you want to make that money, you got to do the work. Like nothing in life is not free. There's going to be sacrifice. There's going to be, you know, times where you want to go to dinner with your family. There's going to be times where you want to hang out with your kids, but instead you're sitting in your room in your corner because your house is so friggin' small, hustling on a team call, right? Or you're skipping dinner with your friends or drinks with your friends because you have a business to build and the business will not build itself. There's going to be sacrifice. You're going to have to block out time. You know, it's not just going to kind of jump up out of nowhere and bite you, right? So the difference between, again, like my invite process is a little bit different. It's a little more lengthy, but it's paid off long-term. And one of those things is, so I don't know if you guys know this or not, but so I'm super like old fashioned, like I'm a really old soul and I'm really bad with technology, like really bad. So everything is done in a binder. I have this mindset thing too, where every month I have to get a new one because they start to look ugly. So I have to get new ones. So every month I get a binder, everything's done in here, which I definitely will show you guys. But what I do every morning when I wake up, I do what's called logging my stories. Okay. So when I log my stories, I go through every single story viewer, which I have about 700 to 800 viewers on both platforms. So Facebook and Instagram. It's 1,500 people. It takes me forever. This is the most annoying part of my day. You go in and you look at all of your story viewers And you're just going to say to them, hey, thank you so much for following my journey on stories, whatever you want to say. Have a good day. That's it. No invite, no sales, no nothing, no nothing, zilch. People will come back to me and they'll be like, you look great. And I'll be like, hey, thanks. Like, I don't even invite them at that point. I just let it go. All right. Do not work for Messenger. Immediately when you're done sending that hey girl thing, not hey girl, but you know, like whatever you're going to use, all of your messages saying thank you, you're going to screenshot them. So you're going to screenshot your inbox. Okay. So you have them in your phone, right? Not deleting it. In 2 days, now those screenshots kind of like your holding cell. Those people are in jail. In 2 days, you're going to go back to those people and you're going to say to them, hey, I noticed you're following along on my stories. I was wondering, like, do you want some more information about my fitness group? Every single day. Okay. So when I say 10 invites is not enough, I do mean that, because there's going to be days where you have like 50 people to invite or 30 people to invite. But my sweet spot seems to be about 20 to 30 people. But when I was building my business, it was literally like 50. Like, I invited every person in my warm market. Okay. But you're going to invite all those people. Okay. I have a certain convo flow that I use, and I know that Megan is amazing. Like, she's like my idol basically. So, I'm sure she has her own, but you have to, I'm going back to the chat. Hold on 1 second. So whatever you're doing that, you want to just make really good sure that you're, Megan, or is that you popping in?
Yeah, you can just keep going. I'm just going to throw them in the chat and then you can come back and answer them later. So
okay.
You just flow.
Okay. So yeah, so you're going to go back and invite those people 2 days later. Like, I don't care if they're not still watching. Like, the end of the day, when you open up a business and you're on Facebook and Instagram and you're like inviting and it feels yucky to you, that's because you're making it awkward. Like, have I got cussed out for an invite before? Yeah, I have. Probably a good bit, maybe like 10 times ish, but that's in a year, you know, and I believe it is because of that original connecting message. If somebody says something about an invite, I'm just like, okay, love you. Have a good day. Like, I don't care, you know, from that point, whatever you're afraid of, like, are you afraid of, is it self-limiting? Like, you don't think that you can, or are you afraid of what people are going to say? Are you afraid of, you know, because I've had people say to me like, oh, if I was interested, I'd come to you, blah, 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 whatever. That's going to happen. You're going to have your people who just aren't your people, but the people that are your people, you are absolutely going to find. So if there's something holding you back from inviting, you're not running a business. Okay. You're not, you're here to post, and that's great. And you're a hobby coach. Then you're not building a business. Like, if you opened up a brick and mortar business, you would be going up to everybody and saying like, hey, I opened up a business. And it's the same thing on Facebook. So if somebody is in your like inbox and they're on your stories and you're saying, hey, thanks for watching, you absolutely need to invite them to join you. Like, that's like them walking into your coffee shop and you just being like, it's not going to happen, you know? So you just have to make sure you invite. And I say that, I don't know if you guys do that or not, but I know my own team does. And it's one of those things where, like, once you get out of your own head about it and you start really doing it, you're going to notice like a massive income shift, and not even that, but like massive mindset shift. Okay. So that's the invite system. Super important. Get out of your own head, figure out what it is you're afraid of and punch it in the face. Okay. That's super important. When I first started, I was so afraid to invite, like, you don't even know. So anyways, in my binder at the beginning of it, I write down my goals. So every single month, and again, I get a new binder. I don't know if it's because I need a reason to go to Target or what, but it makes me feel good. So here's this. Okay. So every month I break down my goals according to the week. Okay. Because a big goal starts out with little chunks. So like, if your goal is Success Club 6, okay, Success Club 6 is not a business builder. It is a hobby coach. Success Club 10 to 20 is technically where you really want to be if you want to really build, right? So if you want to go for Success Club 20, that means every single week you really should aim to hit Success Club. You know, when I first started, every single time Thursday hit, I knew I had to make my grocery money. So every single Thursday, Success Club starts over for me. And that's still true because I started doing that a year ago, and it, just like a fitness journey, it became a habit. So every Thursday, I know I got to put some pep in my step, you know? So if you want to hit Success Club 20, you want to break that down into tangible goals each week. Okay. So And then I'll put like how many coaches I want to recruit, how many Success Club points I want to do for the month, whatever. And then you have my daily to-do list, which every day, if you're not working from a list, please work from a list. Okay. Again, brick and mortar building, like you're not going to walk into your work and like not know what to do. Like there is some sort of a checklist. There's some sort of a training. And this business is, honest to goodness, numbers and strategy. And I know I sound harsh, but honestly, it's just the way I talk. It's so bad. I'm so sorry if I sound harsh. But again, to-do list, super important. Really, really important. So everything is a numbers game, like I said. And it's all, I don't know if you guys can see, it's all like little check boxes, and so like it says like unfollow 500 people. I don't use Cleaner. So in the cracks of my day, I'm like, okay, go unfollow 500 people, right? Stories, 7 to 10. Do you have 7 to 10 stories up every single day? Okay. Happy birthdays. Did you send out happy birthday messages? Like it's everything I need to do on this list. Like even if it's like tell my husband something, it's all on this list because it enables me throughout my day to make sure that I'm hitting that number because again, it is numbers and strategy. Okay. The second thing is my tracking. So I break the tracking down week to week. Okay. So you're going to see, I could rip it out each week. So right here. It's broken down through the week and it has Instagram tags and Facebook names. Okay. So 7 days, I pretty much have a whole piece of paper filled up with people that told me yes. So if I say to somebody, do you want more information? And they tell me yes, their name automatically goes on this sheet of paper. And I put on my to-do list to track the people that I talked to the day before, right? So that it makes it super easy. Like, oh, who did I talk to this week? Is somebody ready to sign up? It's payday. So I can go through and I can look at my list and I can see who told me yes, right? Did a conversation leave off, right? Following up is like so important and it is part of our jobs, right? So you want to make sure that you're definitely going back and following up with the people that are speaking to you essentially, okay? So the other part of it is my invites. So again, the longest part of your day is going to be making your list for your invites and thanking the people that are on your stories. So my invite list, basically I just go to my screenshots in my phone and I just write all the names down that I'm inviting from that day. And then I just go ahead and invite. I do still get uncomfortable with inviting. I think everybody does. So I normally put on some like 90s rap and I just like go to town. And then I have my roster for the month. I keep track of all my clients. I think one really important thing in this business is customer service. Like we are in this to serve people. We are literally providing a solution to a huge problem, right? Which is obesity, anxiety, whatever it may be, and developing relationships with your customers so that they stay with you long term. And not only that, but they trust you is super important. And then that's basically it. That's my binder system. That's all I have. I do keep track of my marketing. So like if a story does really, really well on a certain day, or if like a post does really, really well at a certain day and a certain time, that is going to be really important too, because that's when your audience sometimes is kind of either on or active, and I've rated that to be true over the course of the last couple months. Like, I've noticed like Sundays, if I do a certain thing at the beginning of my story, it gets me more views, and that's really, really important too. So that's my system as far as my tracking, what I do on a day-to-day basis. I follow 500 people a day, no less. If that sounds like a large number to you, it's not. It's literally nothing. You can literally do it while you're on the toilet. Like it is nothing. I'm going to tell you, if you're looking for followers, go to places, not people. Like I said, when I started, my Instagram was like cold, nothing. Like I had no business from it. I didn't even want to post over there. I thought I was wasting my time. And then one day I just like started to get like votes on my polls that were like the real deal. And I'm like, what's going on? Oh my gosh, these people are finally like wanting to join me. And even though I wasn't getting any income production from it, I still kept going and going and going. And that was really, really important for me. So 500 people every day, I follow that. Think places instead of people. So like places, like I like to go out to eat, so like I'll think like, okay, like where do we go? Like DeLuca is in the Strip District. I live in Pittsburgh. I'm a Yinzer. So, oh, DeLucas, look up DeLucas, and I follow all the local people. Who do I follow? People I think I could be friends with in real life. And then after I follow them, if I come to their page and they're like doing something weird, I just unfollow them, like, oh, well, so that's super important too, just following, expanding your network, people you actually want to be friends with, knowing who your market is and who you're speaking to. Like me personally, I'm a mom, so I definitely spin the mom idea, and I love working with moms. Yes, yep, same thing. Connecting, leaving comments on people's stuff. When I am going through all my story viewers, I always go back to the people who are viewing my stories, and I like and comment on their pictures every single day. Like I said, if you do start to use my process, the longest part of it is going through your story viewers. That's the longest part. There's no reason why you can't get all this done in an hour to 2 hours a day if you do it the right way, and if you've already invited all of your warm market. So if you haven't invited your warm market, you definitely want to leave this call and go invite everybody you know to make sure they've seen your post. Like Facebook's weird. It's going to kick your posts out. It's not going to see it, everyone. And like, if you know the person, like, and if they're your friend, like they're going to support you. And if they're not interested, make sure you let them know. If they know somebody who's trying to get in a good shape, to send them your way, or looking for a job, something like that, So I'm going to go through the questions here. I don't know. I'm so bad with technology. What am I doing?
I can read them to you.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So mine was just, you already answered this part, but keeping passion and inviting and stuff. I've had some coaches who are like, well, I'm just sick of inviting people that don't message me back. So your PD definitely was like a mic drop. So Skylar asked, how did you find coaches who were willing to work? She has really awesome girls, but comfort zones are definitely an issue. So is there anything that you think stands out to find like your coaches who are like, I'm just ready to do this kind of thing, like you are?
So, I'm going to say too, like along lines of like inviting and like re-inviting and stuff. So I actually just started re-inviting. I like didn't even know it was a thing till recently. And I've gotten some traction from it, but that is also why that you want to be expanding your network and connecting enough that you always have new people coming in. So you don't have to like hound the same 20 people every day. You know what I mean? Like, that's just me personally. Like I said, I really don't do a whole lot of re-inviting, but that's also too where like consistency in your polls and your stories are really important. Cause like once you send that invite, your content on your stories, like an invite, you're not supposed to really get good responses from it. Like you will once in a while, like I think they say like 1 to 10, but those invites are just a seed that you're planting, and your content is going to water that seed until it grows. Same deal. So staying consistent on your stories, talking, putting polls up is really, really key. And now the other thing was, what did you say again? I'm sorry.
Just basically like, how did you find your coaches who are willing to work? I'm assuming you asked for it, but
that's really key. So I really started to pick up the momentum whenever I started doing, like I mentioned to you before, like the weekly opportunity calls, which I took a break on for a couple weeks because I had like a really large group of girls come in. So I'm going to be starting this back up, and it's me. Like I get on and I speak and I talk to the people that are on my calls and attempt to get them to sign, because most of the girls that I am getting that are working are challengers. Okay. They already know the programs, blah, blah, blah. And I know that sometimes that can hurt, but other times it can be a really, really good thing. One of my diamonds is a hired coach. So like she saw me post about the coaching opportunity, and she actually was a BOD free trial customer, and she like took off. She's really, really great. But how I get them to actually work is I become their friend. Literally, like I'm really close with my team, and I'm like, I talk to them every single day, and I really, I figure out why they're here and what they want to do. And I literally do everything in my power to make it happen. So like, if they're like, oh, I want to pay, like for instance, my girl who just popped diamond today, she wanted to pay for her hockey trip in February. And I'm like, let's do it. Like, I'm going to show you how much is it? Is it $400? Okay. That's 8 people, technically, maybe even less with bonuses. So I'm going to show you how to do it. Here's what you're going to do on Monday. Here's what you're going to do on Tuesday. Here's what you're going to do on Wednesday. If by Wednesday they missed the 3 things I told them to do, I'm not going to help them anymore. They're not taking my help. So that means that they essentially don't want to work, and that's fine. They can be hobby coaches or whatever they want, but working with the working and not just the willing is super, super important. Like, are they actually doing what you're asking them to do? And I think too, that starts out early. Like, I have recently been really working hard with like my new coaches to make sure that they get that quick success, because when somebody's making money, essentially they don't want to quit, right? Sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Oh. Okay, so I just kind of was like asking the question, how did you get over like that limiting belief of having so many people or so many challengers, I guess? I feel like when I first started coaching, I would hit Success Club 10, and then I literally like stopped working the business because I was so afraid that like next month, like, oh my God, I'm not going to hit Success Club kind of thing. So like, how do you get over like, because a lot of coaches say help the people at your table. How do you get over just like getting more
It's hard
kind of thing?
It's hard. It's really hard having that many people come in. And that is why like right now I'm at SC like 32 or something like that. But that doesn't usually happen. Like, it is usually broken up so that each client that comes in, I get them started the right way. I make sure they're all set up, ready to go. I write my clients down in the back of my notebook for that month. And then every day I check in with them. And every day, like literally 1-to-1, I go through and I message them and I'm like, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Make sure that I'm interacting on their wall, and not for my own benefit, because obviously I want them to coach at some point. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, like, I want them to be successful and I want them to stay on products, etc. So I go through and I just check on everybody who joins me for that month. And then usually by month 2, they're like, they're good, you know, and they only need like the 2 to 3. Well, I check in with my long timers 3 to 4 times a week. It's usually about every other day. And keep checking in with them. It, like I said, it does get hard and I definitely lose people, but I mean, I just think that eventually you're going to lose some people, you know, so I just do my best. But like I said, the people who come on for that month, they get checked on every single day outside of the challenge group.
Awesome. I love that. So I had another, I was just like all these questions. So when you said like, okay, so today's Sunday, so tomorrow morning you're going to like wake up, thank everybody from today, and then screenshot that list. And then Tuesday you do the exact same thing. Obviously you posted, you said 7 to 10 times. You just pick some, like your first story, like what do you pick? And then also like, if I'm creeping on you and stuff, do you thank me like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then invite me in the middle of it kind of thing? Does that make
sense? It's literally as simple as it sounds. It's literally like, hey, thanks for watching my stories. Have a great day on Monday. And then on Wednesday, they'll get an invite that just says, hey, like, I notice you following along. Now, the thing is too, like, so I do pick the first story, right? And then I also, on Instagram, I go back to like my middle story. Cause like, if you follow me on stories, you'll notice like there's a lot of fitness at first, you know, like it's a lot of the workouts, the body, everything like that. And then I usually end with my family and my kids or whatever else, food. I usually on Instagram, I do the first story and like my last fitness story, because for some reason, and I haven't been able to figure out why, there's people missing from the first story that are on the middle story. It's so weird. So you're going to notice that if you do that and you hop over, there's going to be more on your middle story that you didn't see on your first one. It's really weird. But so I usually log both of those on Instagram, and then whoever I send a thank you to on Monday, on Wednesday, they get an invite. And it takes a minute to get the hang of it. You know, like I said, the longest part of it is thanking people, essentially.
Yeah. And I just like that piece of like, you know, just saying like, hey, thanks. And then being like, oh, by the way, like I see you following my stuff kind of thing. So yeah, the system, whatever works. I
do the same. I do the same thing with my following messages too. So like if somebody, whenever I get my follows back, my Instagram's private, and I put the people that follow me back in a holding cell. and I let them sit in my follow request for a minute. And then all the people that followed me like on Tuesday, hey, thanks for following me on my fitness journey, whatever my welcome message is that week, to all the people who'd followed me new. And then you're going to realize the more you're in somebody's inbox, which Megan, I'm sure you know this, but the more you're in somebody's inbox, the more they're going to show up on your stories, and your content needs to feed these people. Right. And then, usually by the time like 2 weeks go by, I notice they've been following me on my stories, then I'll invite them. And I usually give them, they're new followers. You don't just want to like eat them alive the second they show up on your story. So I tend to like invite those people like 2 weeks out. So like if they start following me at the beginning of October and they're still watching my stories in the middle of October, I invite them.
Yeah, I love that. Lily asked, why would people cuss you out? I think you just meant like some people just rub you
they don't.
way.
Yeah, they don't want to be invited. Like not like freak out on me, but like I'll be like, hey, you're invited. They'll be like block me. I'm like, okay, sorry, I made you so mad.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
And then they were just talking about the tracking piece. I think that's huge. Obviously, like we have the business activity tracker, but I think, I use like my Teamsy and my Excel spreadsheet, like stuff that I've shown my team before, but I think whatever just works best for you for tracking, because everyone has a different life, and so that's definitely huge. When you invite people, how do you differ or how do you change up like the challenge group coaching piece? Or do you just straight challenge group and then work them into coaches?
So I only invite people to coach that are already posting about fitness or healthy food on their page, or I just really like, and it's really genuine when I do it. So I just reach out to them and I'm like, hey, Ashley, I noticed I keep finding myself like your Instagram feed is like popping up on my stuff, and I just really love you and I think that you're great, and you're already doing what I do as a coach. Like, have you ever thought about it? Would you be interested in hearing details about the opportunity? Most people will take, they'll take information. Like I put in there too. I'm sorry, I'm so scatterbrained. For a full or part-time income. So they see that they can make an income. And all I'm asking is like, do you want details? Whenever they say they want details, I let them know that I'm like, okay, like what's your email address? Like immediately, like I don't give them anything until they give me their email. And then I say, okay, I'm going to have my assistant get you over some information or whatever. And then I'll have my assistant like send her out an email or whatever. And then I go back and follow up and say, hey, did you have a second to check out my email? But that is how I do the coaching thing. I try to invite like 10 people to a coaching opportunity every single day. But at this point I just do fitness. I bring them in fitness, I get them results. And then I just ask them, I'd be like, hey, like, you think you'd be a really good coach? Like, is it something you want to do? But I still do invite to the opportunity and to my calls for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're bringing in, let's say like 25 challengers, obviously you're going to get, 3-4 rock star coaches out of there, especially after pouring into them. So I think that's awesome because I mean, 9 times out of 10, a lot of coaches do come in as challengers first kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or if they just want it so bad, kind of like what you said. Let's see. You guys have any other, when you say follow, is that on Instagram? Yeah, Lily, that's Instagram. Jody asked, what do you talk about on your weekly opportunity call?
So I basically, a while ago, Alyssa ran that May open house and it really closed a lot of deals for me. So I still will use like Alyssa and her magical energy and her team's magical energy to help me like reel stuff in. But every Wednesday night at 8:00, I invite like 2 to 3 girls and I just talk about I tell my story because they're naturally drawn to me, right? They're here on the call. They like my energy. They like something about me or they wouldn't be here. So I tell them my story, tell them how I started, blah, blah, blah. Tell them that, success is actually possible in network marketing. And then I talk about the common fears, the misconceptions. I talk about the trips. I talk about the community. I talk about the objections. And then usually what's stopping somebody from coaching is some sort of a fear, failure, opinions, money, right? So I'll literally say, hey, Megan, like, can you tell me what you're afraid of? Like, tell me what it is. I want to talk to you. And they will talk back to me. They're like, I'm afraid of the opinions of other people, or I don't want to fail. And then I address it like right then and there. and then go from there. And when I started being super consistent about that call, not only is that call going to develop coaches for you, but it's also going to hold you accountable, because I made it a point. If I show up to that call and there's nobody on it, I'm talking to myself. Because I knew at that point I had to recruit. If I wanted to go elite, if I wanted to rank advance, if I want to get those quarterly bonuses, I have to recruit. So it gave me something to invite to every single week. And I started them at the end of August. I did every other week. And then I'm like, no, hell no, I'm doing every week. And then every week I just made it a point, 2 to 3 people. And last month, I think I recruited like 5 or 6 actual working coaches, and that was really a really big turning point for me.
Yeah. Question. So you know how like Alyssa has us doing like the weekly coach webinar kind of thing, basically like what you were talking about. So our team has a lot of leaders who have a lot of their own coaches kind of thing. I feel like sometimes when I'm doing them, I can close my people like that if I'm with them, if that makes sense. But I also understand the value of having like Alyssa on the call, or you know what I mean? So I guess this is just kind of like, what do you feel? Planning like that weekly call, and then like the leader of the team, like actually running it themselves. So like having 4 different separate calls, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do for your leaders once they're starting to get people?
So I have, like, if somebody has somebody coming to the call, I have them speak. So like my sister is one of my diamond coaches, but she runs her own business on her own. And if she has people coming in, she'll tell her story, we'll both talk. And then same deal with like my other 2 that recruit. Like I said, my team's pretty small. It's just, they're doing well, So I bring them on and let them tell their story. And like everybody, like my coach, Kristen, like she works in corporate America. She does this part-time. So like, it is good for her people to hear from her, because they don't necessarily want somebody who's balls to the wall, right? They're probably the same as her most of the time. So I do definitely let them spin that. And then like in the past, which this hasn't happened recently, but in the past, so if I've had somebody who came to a call and then after it was over, I'm like, what did you think of the call? And they're like, I'm still on the fence. Then I put them over to Alyssa and let her seal the deal, or whoever's on her call. Like Lisa's call, I sent that recording to a coach and she was in like immediately, So I know that something Lisa said was powerful to her, right? And these people have been in the business a long time, and the people coming to my call, they want to see somebody who has long-term success. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. It's kind of like that, point where, because like I know, like, we have a lot of leaders on our team who have a lot of, good working coaches, and I understand like the benefit of both of them. So yeah, I love just hearing that. Sorry, just picking your brain. Skylar was, do you just search a location or hashtag on Instagram to find the people you follow? The only thing I want to say about the following thing is I love what you do. I just don't want a lot of newer coaches having like following 50,000 people, and then they have like 50 people following them. So just be careful of that, because if she told you, she goes back and she cleans it out. So if they're not following her back, she goes back and cleans that out. I just don't want you guys like adding like 6,000 people and then having 2 people on your actual thing. So she said that. So I don't know if you guys caught that, but you can't really use anything for Instagram because they'll just like close your account. Like unfollowing people who are not following you back, like that's definitely huge. So if you're going to take the time to follow those people, take the time to unfollow the people who don't follow you back. And then I'll let you answer your question. So searching location or hashtag or both, I guess, on Instagram to find your people. What do you love to do?
So I don't use hashtags at all. Like not even barely in my posts. Like I'm like weird. Like I don't do any hashtags. If I do, it's like super small. It's like, chicks who lift or something, like weird, just to be decorative, not even to really use it, because I am a private account. So people can't search my stuff. So I don't really use hashtags or search by hashtags. It's all through places or people that I like, or like, I try to find like locals, because like locals are not even really like local, but like sort of local. You know what I mean? So the other thing is, I was going to say about the unfollowing thing. When I started, I didn't follow 500 people a day, by the way. I was super slow at it. I started with 50, and then it was 100, and then I was like, I wonder if I can do 200, and then it was 200, and now it's 500 because I've gotten so used to it. It's became a habit, you know, that you can literally, I can do it in the cracks of my day. So like if you are a new coach, like don't stress yourself out. Start with a number that you're comfortable with, or set a timer and get done as many as you can in that timer and go from there.
Yeah, I love that. Jody asked, is there a reason you have a private account?
It just works for me. I don't know. It just, I put my account public, and like, I've been noticing like a lot of Beachbody coaches starting to follow and request. And it's like my Instagram, I literally can't even believe I make money off of it, for real. Like it's a mess, honestly. And it's not like bright and pretty, but it's me. I'm not a bright and pretty person. I'm literally like just really, really super, super regular. And I try to just be myself, and I'm not organized. I'm not like picture savvy or anything, you know, so
you're not organized, but you have a monthly binder with,
yeah. Like, but that took everything out of me. Like I was like looking at my old tracking books, and I'm like, oh my God. Cause I kept them all, like, I'm like a hoarder. But it's true. My Instagram is like super, super simple. That is all I do with my binder system. I just seen her thing pop up. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just super simple. It's just the monthly goals at the beginning of my binder. So every day when I wake up, I do not lose sight of it. And then the daily to-do lists, and then anybody who tells me yes goes on that sheet of paper for that week. And then through the week, I'm able to, like, you know, go through and be like, who told me yes this week? Oh, she never answered, or she never listened to my voice clip, which, if a conversation leaves off at some point, you definitely want to make sure you go back and say, hey, like, when I close my sales, I'm super like, I interview everybody. Like I go through their goals, their struggles, and all of that, which I'm sure you guys probably do too. But if I ask somebody like, hey, what are your fitness goals? And they told me they were interested, and then they go away, I'll be like, girl, I'll put like eyeballs. I'm like, did you want to tell me your fitness goals so I can help you, or what? Like, you know, like, and I go back a day later, and that list really helps that be convenient.
Yeah. And I love, what you said about like when people are interested, that's when you like write that shit down. So you just go to work, and then when you get that yes. And so I think what some girls focus on is all of the people that are ghosting them versus all the people that are actually interested, you know? So like you're very positive at your business because you're focused on the yeses, not on I sent 100 invites and I got, you know, that kind of thing. You're more focused on the positive. So I love that part.
Yeah. And, you know, it's really important too to just know that like invites usually don't, like, granted, like, I'm sure this happens to you, Megan, like you have somebody you invite and then like they've joined that day and you're like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. But like as a general rule, right, it takes a minute. Like it really, really does. So those invites, you're going to get ghosted. You're going to get ignored because people sometimes just don't trust you yet. And that's okay. Just find that person who does trust you and that you actually believe that you actually have the actual solution to what they're struggling with. And that's the person you focus on, because you know for a down outright fact that you have what it takes to help them, right? I'm not different than you know?
Yeah. I think like just listening to you, it honestly is like it's not even drawing a line in the sand. You built a fucking wall in the sand. Like you were like, I'm not going back. And like every day you're like, I'm just going to do the freaking things. And consistency over time, you know, you guys hear that from me every single day. Like she's just living proof of it. I think what some coaches get caught up in is, oh, she went from 1 to 5-star. Like, what's this magic thing? And you're like, no, girl, I've been showing up since this day, you know? And I think that's huge in your binder system. You found what worked for you. Like, I love having people speak on a call. Cause like, yeah, I took stuff from you. Like, absolutely. Have I been coaching longer than you? Absolutely. You know, like you take little things. Don't feel like you guys have to go like do this major surgery and do everything that she does. Take something that you found from her that like, you were like, I need to try this. I'm going to tweak it. And I was like picking her brain today about the whole like, hey girl, thanks so much for the love, or whoever, you know, like thanks so much for loving on my stuff, and then going back and inviting. I'm not going to go and like burn my business down and like restart, but like find something you can take from her and like plug it into your business for real, because obviously like what she's doing is working, but it's also working for her. So please just know that, like, find some good shit, because obviously there was like pages of it. But just find like what works, you know, for you, and just know that like it's freaking possible. Like anything is freaking possible. I don't want to hold you any longer. Do you guys have any like last second questions? Otherwise we need to let her go, because like she's like sitting in a corner in her Pittsburgh shirt and I'm over here.
Well, you know what? I didn't realize you guys were an hour before me. So where I would normally be, my kids are having to go to bed. So I'm like, I don't want them to hear me at all. So I'm like literally hiding. They won't go to bed. So I realized, I'm like, oh my God, 8:30 her time's 9:30 my time. That's crazy. But
yes, for sure. One question. So I know your binder is like super simple, but, and I know Jody's going to ask me this when the call gets over. Is there any way you can like screenshot just like the front page of your binder and just send it to me so I can send it to her? I know she's not going to ask for it, but she'll totally ask for it. Like once it,
yeah, I will.
Once the call's over, she literally will ask me that.
For sure.
So yeah, anyway, thank you so freaking much. Like, this is awesome. And I really hope that you guys took from her fire. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like, she just is literally just decided and is running with it. And I think the thing from this weekend too is like, you put your goals in front of you every single morning when you wake up. And so it's hard to lose sight of that shit when it's like, you know, and
yep.
so definitely